I am excited for the main event between Sean Strickland getting his title shot against the superstar Israel Adesanya in his home region of Sydney, Australia, coming out of New Zealand, fighting out of New Zealand. You know, I got to be honest with you, one of the things that I really find intriguing about Sean Strickland is that he embodies exactly what a Southern California guy is. And let me give you an example. I was in Santa Monica. I saw this guy getting angry because I wasn't going to go out and beat the light in which we were transitioning from one lane to another, right? So I didn't take the risk of running that red light, and he went and honked at me. And I'm like thinking to myself, this guy's an absolute insane of a man. Like, why would he even do that, or even put blame upon me of trying to drive in safety? And then I realized he's with a kid with him. It was some middle-aged white man with some half-black kid that's sitting in his seat. And then I'm thinking to myself, wow, you know, this guy is extremely confrontational. People down here in Southern California, in Los Angeles, are just extremely confrontational. And I'm trying to understand it. And then I realize, for every big city out there in the world, whether it's New York or whether it's Paris or whether it's Miami, people that come from these places are usually going to be very hyperactive in the way that they respond to potential stress that they're dealing with. And I just think that it's not just a Southern California thing, but it's more like a big city thing. And that's primarily what Sean Strickland is. You look at the videos that he does online. He goes at people in traffic saying something to the effect of, well, if you guys have no guns, you know, we'll just get out and fight right now. We'll just get out and fight right now. No guns, this and that. And then there's a few guys that have actually threatened him with guns on these little online exchanges that he records. And then he goes and he backs down. But other than that, Sean Strickland is the type of guy that will literally fight you within a drop of a hat. And lo and behold, if you guys want to check out some of the dodgy past dealing with Sean Strickland, why don't you guys check out one of my live videos that I did titled Sean Strickland Was a Southern California Nazi Gang Member. You guys would like to check it out. It gives you a little brief history on Sean Strickland and a reaction to one of the press conferences or media day scrums that he did for his upcoming fight with Abus, which, by the way, with that win and that knockout, got him this fight with Israel Adesanya. Now, with Israel Adesanya, what is a very intriguing thing that we can say about this guy? The fact that he comes from a very, how do I say this? An anime fan-driven type of culture, the way that Israel Adesanya comes from, meaning that he is that guy that grew up in the 90s playing Street Fighter, that guy that watches the modern anime stuff, of which, if you're a fan of and that's your niche, you can certainly relate to him. And numbers don't lie, it is a big popular thing that a lot of people out there like to watch. And Israel Adesanya happens to be one of them. Not the stereotypical aspect of what you think of a fighter, especially when he goes out and he wears pearls, he goes out and gets his nails done and puts different colors on them. And so a lot of these things that what the young kids call sus in that particular way. But not only that, he also has a very spiteful personality, in which you've seen that displayed with his fights with Pereira, the series that they had going on. Now they're one-upping each other. One guy knocks the other guy out. The other guy knocks the other one out. And then the other guy comes back and does the same thing. And then they do it in two different sports. So now you have a situation where you see Israel Adesanya in his rawest form when he is the sore loser and starts acting the way that he did, throwing a bow and arrow at Alex Pereira as he's knocked out. And then pointing at his son, saying to him in a revenge type of feelings that he has, and the type of weight that's being lifted at his shoulder at the same time, goes and taunts the kid. And a lot of people find this cringe, a lot of people like it, but nonetheless, one of the things that you can understand, in the personality between Sean Strickland and Israel Adesanya is that one of the most important baselines for MMA is being a little bit crazy than the average usual human. And going into the fighting aspect of it, why is that significant? Because now I've explained to you their history, I've explained to you their psychology, I've explained to you their temperament, but how will all that relate to how they're going to translate it with the kicks and punches? And that's what we're going to talk about right now. So, with Israel Adesanya, he is a range master. He knows how to gauge the distance. He knows how to fight with being able to dodge in and out. He knows how to use his length. He knows how to use his athleticism and allowing his speed to take over into the fight. Sean Strickland has this very subtle yet very consistent flow of movement. And what do I mean by that? Meaning that it's a very slow, methodical punch in the way that I can describe it in a very similar fashion to Nick Diaz. And what exactly do I mean by that? Take Nick Diaz in his prime. What did he do? He would throw 50% punches, but at a higher rate. And then out of nowhere, he changes speed 5 into speed 10. And then out of nowhere, he'll contain a consistency of speed 3 while he turns it up from speed 3 to speed 5. And then from speed 5 out of nowhere, he's hitting you with a speed 10. And that's literally the description of Sean Strickland, although he never really goes in a very explosive manner, doesn't display any of that, because he's not like Israel Adesanya having that same explosive ability. Not that type of guy at all. But what Sean Strickland has is a never quit grinder's mentality. Not only with a never quit grinder's mentality, he also has a tough chin. He comes from that background that I just mentioned, a never quit personality. Never backing down. Just like the guy that I mentioned in LA was just honking at me, following me. Why? Because he was upset that I didn't take that risk of going through a red light. Right? And then he wants to go and fight me out of it. Maybe out of nowhere, maybe that guy had a gun or something. But that's the type of area that you deal with in LA, and that's the kind of temperament that you're going to deal with in the likes of Sean Strickland. He's never going to back down. That's the type of thing that he practices every day in his mental mind space. He's constantly trying to never back down in a lot of occurrences where he feels that his life is threatened. So how is that going to translate in a cage and in the ring, or in the night of the fight and in the moment of competition? How it's going to translate is he's going to do exactly that. Move forward. And you know what they say, stamina makes a coward of us all. And he's not a coward by any means. He doesn't want to display that. So how is he going to preserve that? He's going to preserve that by punching 50% instead of going 100. And then he's going to maintain a level speed of 40%. Let's say speed 4, as I had mentioned earlier. And he's going to try to maintain that. But somewhere down the line, just like how Israel Adesanya and El-Kheer are literally 50-50 of each other, minus the aspect of the weight advantages that El-Kheer has and the disadvantages that he's going to have trying to cut all that weight, I would say that skill-wise, him and El-Kheer are 50-50. And how did El-Kheer do against